This episode of MMPQB is brought to you, like many others, by Unleashed Music, the artist development company that specializes in helping artists and bands grow their communities through targeted promotion and marketing. Learn more at unleashedmusic.com. Thanks for tuning in to the show for another week. As always, I'm your host, MK. You can find the show online at moremusicpodcast.com. If you're enjoying it, share it with a friend. Drop it a rate on whatever podcast platform you listen to. I guess if you happen to be in the business of rating things, iTunes, I think, is a good one to do that for my analytics. But either way, thanks for listening, and enjoy today's episode. We're going to hear the new track from Kingston band Amity. I had a great time talking to Lindsay Rubin, and I hope you will go and check out her music and support your local music scene. Oh, and follow her cat on Instagram. From the band Amity, it's Lindsay Rubin, one of my fellow Kingston locals. How's it going, Lindsay?
It's going pretty good on this rainy day. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, we were just talking about Halloween, which is in 2 days, and it's going to be a weird one. I don't know about you, but Kingston Halloween is one of my favorite things, and I'm very sad that it's not going to be like it usually is this year.
Truly. I love Halloween in Kingston. Yeah, but I think we'll make the best of it. I kind of feel like that's what quarantine's been all about.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it sounds like both of our friend groups are going to have like weird outdoor bonfire situations, which will probably still be freezing, but we'll make the best of it.
Yeah, every costume that we're going to do is just going to be the winter version of whatever the character is.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you grew up like in the Northeast, I did, but you know, when you would like go trick-or-treating as a little kid and you would like have this grand costume idea and then your parents would make you put it on over like a snowsuit and you'd be so mad. You're like, well, that's not what it's supposed to look like. I look all bulky now.
I was red crayon for like 7 consecutive years, and I am to this day convinced it's because it was like a full-on sweatsuit with a hat.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't hate being a red crayon this year.
I'm for it. I'm saying bring back the crayons.
Yeah, this is the, you know, usually like I do like to look cute on Halloween, especially since it is such like a party holiday around here, and it's just like it's fun to just like put on something cute and, you know, ballsy and just go dance at BSP or whatever. But this year it's all about like who can be the warmest.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not like quote unquote cute maybe personality wise, but I would say I like to go as something maybe more awkward, and this year it's going to be the most awkward because it's a winterized version of the character.
Yeah, so. Yeah, exactly. You were saying Louise from Bob's Burgers with like a flannel flannel long johns underneath, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, that sounds great. And honestly, like not super far off from the character. She's pretty practical. I think if it was cold, she would throw on some flannel without thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were kind of saying I would just go as my backup costume, which is a crotchety old Jewish woman, because I'm very good at that. I mean, I am that, but like I do it times 50. So,
dude, I need a backup costume. Like this is my problem every year. Like I always tell myself in like, you know, September that I'm going to plan something elaborate and like make it really good. And there's been exactly 1 year that I've actually pulled that off. Last year, I literally day of, like my friends were doing an Alice in Wonderland theme and I was like, fuck it. Like whatever I was going to do was not working out. So I just like grabbed a pillowcase and a blue dress and I was like, I'm Alice now. And it worked out fine. But like literally it's always a day of costume. And I don't want to be that way. But it's just like, I think 2 years ago, I tried to be a possum and I tried to put effort into it. I like sewed the ears and the tail and like, you know, had this whole like idea for makeup and like tried to make a snout and it was a mess. I was a giant rat.
I love that. I mean, giant rat is also cute. So.
Yeah. But like I actually, and like maybe to my credit, it was my least cute Halloween costume. I had like this big hairy vest and like just full pants. Like it was not like all my friends were cute and sexy and I was just like a gross rat.
Did you go to the karaoke night?
Yeah, that
I think I saw you there.
Yeah, my friend and I were you know, Over the Garden Wall. Have you ever seen that show?
Yes. I think I appreciated that at the time.
Yeah, I think you were one of the few people who did.
so good.
we had just seen it and we were like, we have to do this. And that actually, I guess I put some effort into my work costume. I did like source the hat and like do a little bit of hot gluing on a blanket to make the little like cape thing. We really tried. And my friend like totally
Wow.
sculpted the teapot hat. It was very impressive.
That's super impressive. I've never like tried at a costume before, like hot glue. That's so impressive.
Yeah, and like I can sew a little bit, but like when it comes to crafting, like I just always second guess myself. And like I should have just sewed the buttons on the thing, but I was like, hot glue will be easier maybe. And then the buttons were just falling off all night, but whatever.
I think you have a really good like visual sense, so I'm sure if you trust your gut, you'll get there.
Thank you. That's I don't know if that's true, but that's really nice.
Well, every time I see you, I think you look really cute. So,
Oh, shucks. So Lindsay, tell me about what Amity is up to. You guys have a new album getting ready to drop.
yeah, we are kind of trying to record or finish up recording really an album in quarantine. It's been really interesting. I think maybe mostly because I don't know, maybe this is like a thing that women feel often, but I always doubt my own abilities to the point where I think I absolutely need the help of other people. And I definitely think that quarantine gave me like no other option but to rely on myself.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting because I've never like mixed things before or recorded myself or anything like that. I usually have someone else, doing that stuff. But yeah, we all did our own part in our separate abodes and then sent each other via email all of our parts and then collaborated that way. And it's been really kind of fun.
Yeah, that is super daunting. And I mean, I've kind of had a similar experience, like setting up my own little studio in my closet here and, learning how to, do all of the aspects of the podcast. But, what I've really learned is like, A, you learn by doing, especially with like audio stuff and mixing and things like that. And B, like the more I listen to other people's podcasts, because I always just take it for granted that people are professional and know what they're doing, and I'm not and don't. But really,
Yeah.
like nobody does and nobody is, and everybody's just faking it until they make it. And like the more you like do audio stuff yourself, the more you hear little imperfections in other audio that you wouldn't have necessarily noticed. And but it doesn't bother me. It just makes me realize like, oh, it's okay if my shit's not 100% perfect.
Yeah. And feeling like things are okay if they're not 100% perfect is so hard. And it's something that I really didn't realize I had such a huge issue with until, trying to put something out that I did myself. And with, obviously my bandmates played on the song as well. But when it came to like the mixing part of it, I felt so self-conscious. And then I realized it's impacting the way that I think the finished product is going to be. If I just like let it happen, there's no excuses. And whatever it is at this point. I'm just excited to put it out there and see what happens.
Yeah, totally. Have you been a perfectionist in the past, or is this kind of like something you're learning about yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm like incredibly anal when it comes to music. I'm not sure. I've been thinking about this. Well, it's just that I realized how crazy I get while doing this project. But when it's in the hands of somebody else, it's so much easier to give a critique that's like objective. So yeah, I think I had a really hard time like letting go of all of it being perfect. But yeah, like with songwriting, I spend a lot of time on chord progressions and like, what melody does and how it interacts with harmony, like all this stuff that a lot of people don't think about or even really feel when it comes to listening to the song after the fact. And I realized that every note does not have to be perfect. It can just feel good. And if it feels good, then it is.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not that it doesn't matter. I mean, like the fact that those little details are there makes it that much deeper and that much more, complete of a song and that much more your song. But yeah, like letting go of the notion that like there is perfection, because I think that's really what it comes down to is like there's no such thing as perfection. Like you could fuck with a song for a year or 5 years or 10 years or your whole life and still find things to change about it. You know, it's never like there's no such thing as perfect in something as subjective as making a song.
For sure. Do you feel like you're a perfectionist or?
No, to my own detriment, honestly. Like I am very much
I don't know.
like I don't like I mean, I think there's a happy medium that maybe we should both be trying to hit where like I could work a little harder to polish the things that I do. Like I in every band that I've been in and even on like this podcast, like every project that I do, I'm definitely like, you know, not super slapdash, but like just kind of like too forgiving of imperfections maybe where I'm like, it's fine, like let's just get it out, you know. Like for example, I went to film school for a very hot second when I was like 18. I went to NIFA in the city, and like the thing that made me realize that like I probably didn't want to be a director was watching my classmates like obsess over, you know, getting the right lighting and getting everything perfect and all the, you know, the light balance and this and that and setting up the shot in just such a way at just such an angle. Whereas I was like, I just like, let's just film it. Like, let's just get it done so I can start editing and like see what it looks like. You know, like I was so just like not a detail oriented person when it came to that stuff. And I think that's me in every aspect. And yeah, like that just made me realize like, oh, if this is what it takes to do this, then this is probably not going to be for me.
I like that you figured that out sooner rather than later, though.
Oh,
But
yeah. It took me one
yeah.
semester.
Yeah, I think I kind of envy people who like have the ability to let go a little bit. Definitely hurts in a lot of other aspects of life, not just music. I feel like I've always been kind of, I don't know, not a perfectionist per se, but maybe issues. Who knows? But yeah, I gotta get some of that in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is like an aspect of that where it can be hard to start something because the prospect of finishing it to your satisfaction is so daunting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I feel like this entire quote unquote album, I mean, we like did some recording in the studio. There's some songs from like a couple of years ago. There's stuff that we're currently working on, and it's like it never came to fruition because I've never been able to just like move to the next step and be okay with what has already happened.
Yeah.
Which I'm working on in therapy. So hopefully that'll be fine soon. I'm going to be totally fixed. And
That's how that works, right?
absolutely.
That's
yeah.
what we pay therapists for, to fix us.
Yeah. So any day now I'll be completely perfect and able to just release things and feel good about myself.
Right on. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a tough thing about therapy. I've done it myself a bunch of times, and I feel like I always hit a point where I'm like, damn it, I'm not better yet. Like, I'm gonna stop spending money on this.
Yeah, I have done a lot of therapy type things with therapists who just were not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the feeling that I got a lot of the time, like impatience, maybe some frustration. But I like to say that it's worth keeping to, you know, try to find someone who you do mesh really well with, because, well, in my opinion, therapy is super important. It's helped me so much. I feel like even in the last 2 or 3 years, like my whole, I feel myself like having changed, and I'm just like a huge advocate for mental health stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, and likewise. And I do think it's been super helpful for me in the past, but I feel like I've had, you know, there's like 2 particular therapists that I'm thinking of who I stuck with for a pretty long time. And then I felt like I hit a point where I couldn't progress any further with them. Like we were just kind of spinning in circles and like talking about the same things. And like maybe it was in my head, but I also felt like they were maybe frustrated with me a little bit for the same reason. And I was just like, I don't know, it didn't feel productive anymore. So yeah,
Could I ask you an ultra personal question?
Absolutely. That's what this podcast is all about.
Okay. Did you ever tell them that you thought they might be frustrated with you?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like it's kind of part of like the therapeutic process is like all of the weird stuff that you put on other people, like while you're going through your life, if it happens in therapy, that's like kind of a gift, because then you can be like, hey, I'm feeling like you're frustrated with me, and you are a therapist, so it's probably not the case. Can we talk about it?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, you are so right. And I mean, yeah, like if there's any safe space to talk about stuff like that would be the one where I'm literally paying for a safe space.
Right? You're like basically paying for somebody to like like you and pay attention to you. And so they're probably not frustrated. Like, I don't think they're emotionally invested in
No,
that way where
not
they
ideally they
you know,
shouldn't be. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, well, we'd hope.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Did you ever try what's the thing the one where you move your eyes and hold a thing and think about traumatic memories? What is that called?
Yeah, I've heard of this. Is it, oh man, I'm blanking on the name too. But
CBT? I think it's CBT because every time I read about it, I'm like cock ball torture or or the other thing. But yeah, I think it is. I forget what it stands for in that context, but I think it
something
is.
like
I
that.
think it is
It's
called
definitely
CBT.
some type of acronym. Yeah, no, I've never tried it. I've had friends who have tried it and have had really good experiences with it, but I have not done that yet. Are you into it?
I tried it with one of my therapists, and I think it's very powerful. I think it, definitely stirs up traumatic memories or, any kind of like just whatever you're trying to work on. It like stirs up the emotions that you're trying to work on in a really effective and direct and visceral way. But,
Wow.
whether that's necessarily a positive thing, like, because I feel like it's a pretty new method of therapy. So I almost like, I was doing it and I was like, I don't know if this is making things better or worse because it just like dredges things up and stirs it all around. And I was like, I don't know if I'm really getting any like healing out of this or if I'm just like stirring shit up.
Yeah, I don't know if you can truly do any of the healing stuff until all the stuff is dredged, unfortunately.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I feel like I have, had friends who've gone to therapy, not because I've, talked about how much I appreciate it, but, maybe they did it at a similar time or something, but they would come back and be like, I don't know, I feel worse than I did before. And I was like, yeah, like usually after therapy, I'm not like, cool, I feel great. Like I usually feel pretty bad for a little bit, but it's, working through like that type of stuff is deep and it takes a lot of energy and yeah, but I think it's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you in any kind of like social work or mental health field outside of music?
No. No, I wouldn't trust me.
No.
Uh, yeah, no, I do like IT as
Oh,
my,
cool.
daytime gig.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, but no, I really appreciate people who can though. I don't know if I would be able to go home and not bring work with me in
Yeah.
that scenario.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very real thing. I kind of feel the same way. Like anything with like working with people and, trying to help people, I don't know that I would be able to like compartmentalize that.
Yeah, I'm especially bad at compartmentalizing. So I appreciate having the type of job where I can, you know, work, come home, put it down, and then do music stuff or whatever else.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, back to the music stuff.
Oh, right.
Is there a name for the record? Like, tell me about kind of
Oh,
the
yeah.
process of like, deciding to do this and what the concept is.
So for the record in its entirety, I don't have too many answers yet because we're still in the middle of recording. We did so many weird pieces that are going to come together, but hopefully in, a few months' time. But we're releasing the first single off of it on the 30th.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm calling it the spooky single. And it's a song that is kind of about like impact of action versus idea. I don't know. But if you want to check it out, it's going to be on the Spotify, the Bandcamps, the SoundClouds, and We're Amity, Amity.
Nice.
Yeah, and on Instagram, Amity Ames. If you want to follow us there, that's kind of like the only social media that I can comprehend. So
Yeah, same. I do not Twitter or Snapchat or TikTok. I don't know. I don't know if those, like, especially Twitter. I know maybe like as a podcast host, I should like have a Twitter for my podcast because I know it's still like a massive platform, but I just never got into it.
I just don't understand it. And I've asked so many people, like, what is the Twitter for? And can you teach me how I look at things on Twitter? Maybe it's just because we're in the like millennium era that's like a little bit older. So now, I don't know. Is Twitter for younger people? Is Snapchat for younger? I don't know.
I think Twitter is a very broad age range. I know that
Oh, okay.
there's a lot of like, journalists and politicians. Obviously, some terrible politicians are very active on Twitter. But no, I mean, like, the reason I feel like I should get into it more is because I feel like there's a lot of like, discourse that happens on Twitter among like, professionals and experts, but I just don't know how to find that stuff and see it in real time.
Right.
I'm always like reading, interesting tweet threads way after the fact on like Facebook or Instagram where they're reposted. But like, when I was on Twitter, I was like, I don't know, I follow like a dozen, comedians or drag queens or whatever that I like, but I don't know how to like, how do you curate your feed so that you're seeing like all of the most relevant, interesting stuff? Like, is there an option to just do like most popular things right now? I don't know. It seems so overwhelming to like,
I just don't understand how you see the stuff.
yeah,
I totally agree. I've like tried to follow people and they post stuff, but how do I see what everyone's commenting on? I don't understand Twitter. I think I might be too old for it. I don't
yeah.
know. Okay, but yeah, it's like multi generational, but
It is,
I'm
but
personally
I
too old
think
for it.
I think you would have had to have gone. We both would have had to have like gotten on the Twitter train like 10 years ago. Like when it was first
Oh,
kind of starting out, and like I think people just like jumped on then and are still into it and are still like, I don't know, just like you have to be that deep to like be plugged into it. And I don't know, I feel like there's less of a curve on Instagram, for example. Like, I love Instagram is easy and fun,
same.
and I have a dozen accounts that I barely, I mean, I've got one for myself, one for the podcast, one for each of my dogs for some reason, like,
No,
bands,
I
like,
have one for my cat. I totally get it.
it's so stupid, and like I barely even update those, but like I don't know, I just like to have a depository for pictures of my dogs, that's all.
I like to be able to say, here, do you want to look at my cat? Here's a bunch of curated photos of my cat doing a number of different cute faces.
Yeah, exactly. What is your cat's Instagram? Because I will follow it.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'll follow it back. Your dogs and you, of course. It's Bub Chub Rub.
Amazing.
This cat has 6 toes on every paw, so very chunky,
Oh,
very cute.
oh my God.
Yeah, so there's a lot of paw pictures because
Yes. That's what I need in my life. More paw pictures. Yeah, I follow so many animals on Instagram, so many like dumb meme accounts, and then also like, you know, the fucking Hudson Valley Anti-Fascist Network. Like there's really useful shit on
absolutely.
there.
Yes. Anti-fascism is the most useful thing that Instagram has to offer.
Yeah, they're really great. I mean, I'm sure that there's the opposite thing too, but I just don't see that stuff because that's not my area of interest. But yeah, like it's just a really great way to like spread information, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like I learn a lot on Instagram. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but like I follow a lot of people who are like politically savvy or active. So yeah.
Yeah, and much more so than me. And I do feel like, and this is maybe not the greatest thing that I do as a habit, but I feel like I mainly get my news, like my current events, from Instagram a little bit, like Instagram and also Reddit, but probably more so Instagram.
I feel like that's fine. I mean, I think Instagram is kind of like a newsfeed in itself just because everyone's always commenting on the most, of the moment news piece of, it's
Yeah.
just, I do too. I feel like that's fine. sometimes have a problem where I like watch CNN for way too long. And then I feel really like, bummer. But
Yeah.
like if I'm just looking at stories that are mixed in with like cute dog pictures, then it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like I need like a few surreal memes to just like break up the feed and keep it from getting too like bogged down. I think that's what I like about it. Oh my God, was that a meow?
It really, really was. This cat is so neglected. Needs to be paid attention to 24/7. Um, yeah, and I feel like especially it's a freaking pandemic. Like we deserve to have a couple of cute pictures thrown in with the monstrous news cycle right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a pandemic. It's like, I don't know, 4 days from the election or some fucking crazy number. It's, yeah.
Black people are getting murdered every other day.
Yep,
It's,
and yeah, people in Kingston are still for so, like, not everybody, obviously, but there are still like so many people clamoring for more cops in Kingston for some reason.
ugh,
Like, can you believe
God,
that shit? Like, and they're literally
no.
like, oh, like, we're afraid that our kids are going to get shot on the school bus. It's like, okay, well, then how about instead of like throwing more cops at the problem, which is obviously not working because we've already tried it, like, how about we like put more money into community programs and like some kind of like neighborhood outreach thing? Like, maybe, a more direct, like, non violent response could actually get results.
Right. And it's not like, the cops in this town don't physically harm children who are Black.
Yeah,
So,
all the
um,
time.
right. So cool. Then you just mean you're trying to save white kids from literally nothing? Because I don't understand. Yeah, it makes zero sense. But yeah, this town has like a really unfortunate outlook on the police situation. Like they're in our schools, they're super racist and shitty. I mean, whatever. But yeah, well, as white folks, we can all we can do is try to push towards the right stuff
Yeah, exactly.
in our community.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like trying to be an ally. I'm aware that I'm clueless. I'm always, open to being told that I'm clueless and why. But
same.
doing my best.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm always like I don't know and I want to, but I'm truly not gonna, always have the right answer. But I'm always not. I'm not gonna have the right answer, but I'm also not gonna stay quiet. So
Hmm.
it's there's something to do about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, once again, it's time to take a break to talk about real estate. Are you looking for your perfect home in the country, somewhere maybe, oh, I don't know, in upstate New York, somewhere with a little bit of space to spread out, a little bit more bang for your buck? May I recommend contacting Susan Barnett. She's a licensed associate broker with Keller Williams Upstate Country Properties at 31 Main Street, Oneonta, New York. She's a member of the Otsego, Delaware Board of Realtors, as well as the New York State Multiple Listing Service, and you can find her online at upstatecountryrealty.com. Susan made the move a couple years ago herself. She moved from the Hudson Valley up to Otsego County and got the most beautiful classic farmhouse. She's got so much space. She's got so much yard, these beautiful outbuildings. Her partner was able to build a studio on the property. And I won't tell you what she paid for it, but I will tell you that you could not find something like that here in the Hudson Valley for what she paid for it. So if you are ready to make that move and find your own beautiful dream home for a hilariously low price, get out there, talk to Susan. She will help you find it. She's got a strong network of connections too. So even if you're not ready to move a little bit further upstate and you want advice or a referral to an agent somewhere else, she can hook it up. She's not about the hard sell. She is not about pushing you to spend more than you want to or settle for a place that isn't right. She will get you what you want at the price that works for you. Get out there, get your dream home, upstatecountryrealty.com. Yeah, well, tell me more about the record because I feel like I haven't asked you all that much about it. So you said some of these songs are older ones and some of them are songs that you just put together. Did you get to write songs, like actually write songs from scratch, like remotely with your band members? That must have been kind of a new experience.
um, I am currently writing, but I haven't yet recorded those songs. Those are kind of like the last bit that we have yet to do. But yeah, I kind of always write the songs for the band separately, and then bring them to like a band practice, and then they tell me what sucks, and then we change it. And then they are obviously incredibly talented musicians in their own right, so they put their spin on everything. So we got Mike Rasmus, who plays bass. He has his own project called M. Roosevelt, and they're incredibly good. Songwriting is just like unbelievable. He's a fantastic bassist, a fantastic drummer, really great songwriter. So if you can check him out, also good friend. We went to Purchase for music,
Oh, nice.
together like 10 years ago or something. So yeah, still trying to do it, even though we're old now. And then Lee is Lee Press. She is a fantastic drummer and musician as well. And it's just been really nice to keep things going, even though we can't practice together. I feel like, I don't know, it's like such a loss, because I didn't realize how much of my socializing I got from band practices, but like seeing those guys on a weekly basis definitely made me like more happy in general. So yeah, it's been rough. 'Cause I also live alone, so pandemic alone is weird.
Yeah, no doubt. I live with my partner and a couple of dogs, and in the beginning, like we were like, I don't know, like we were cooped up together, which was not a bad thing. I'm happy to be cooped up with him. And then he ended up working out of town for most of the summer. So I was just like on my own, like playing dog mom, like pretty much all summer, because I lost my job in April, so like I wasn't really doing much of anything. It's been super weird, but I also like, I don't know, I'm blessed with a wonderful community around here, and I did a lot of like outdoor activities with friends this summer. I did a shitload of hiking and swimming holes and stuff like that. So I never felt like too alone, but yeah, it was definitely like from one routine that I've been following for, almost 5 years or whatever, where I was just like working full time and like I had my schedule and I had my thing. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, everything is completely different now. And in some ways it's been lovely. Like I don't mind having a break from all of that and like kind of having a chance to like figure out, because I wasn't like 100% happy in my job, and there were always times that I was like, I don't know, maybe I should do something else. So yeah, I mean, there have been things about it that have been great. I forget where I was going with this, but yeah, also the band socialization thing. Because I also play in like a few different bands, and like that's a big part of like my routine too, is like seeing all of them and working on that music. And now I'm pretty much, I mean, the other two still exist, but it's less possible for us to get together. But I do have one band that we're able to get together, because my friend has a nice big living room, and we'll just go and like sit far apart and work on our songs. And that's been great to have that as like even just like a thing to focus on, like to
Absolutely.
practice. But yeah, one of my main bands, Uncle Dad, two of the girls work in healthcare, so pretty much immediately it was like, well, can't do that no more.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. Well, my bandmates are pretty remote, but their partners both work in more social areas. So I don't know. Everyone's just really like unsure of what is the right thing to do. But yeah, it's definitely been weird and hard. I think this summer was a gift in a lot of ways, just because we could hang out together but separately, friend wise, and definitely did a lot of swimming and biking and stuff like that. But I'm a little nervous for the winter, just because I have kind of like a bubble in Kingston that I think we're kind of all cool with being closer to each other, maybe, because we're not really like doing it with other people. So very grateful for that. Don't know what I'd do without that. But yeah, it's been weird. I think in the beginning I was like, Wait, you're telling me that I have to work from home and be alone 100% of the time? That is like my literal dream. I'm so excited. I was so happy. And it was like 2 months went in. I was like, I'm stoked. I'm alone. I'm not seeing anybody, especially because I was crazy about the quarantining in the beginning because I didn't know what was going on. And then like month 4, I was like, this is getting old.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Getting
but
a little stir
still
crazy.
enjoyable. I love being alone.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. Like, I'm very much like, I'm like, I guess what you'd call an ambivert, where like I am pretty introverted. I do really need my alone time, but I also need my social time too.
What did you call it?
Ambivert, have you heard that phrase?
No, I'm gonna look it up. That sounds that sounds about yeah, like up my alley as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Ambivert.
One of the many wonderful things I've learned from the internet.
Oh, the internet. So good.
Yeah, I don't know what I
Um,
would do without it, but yeah, like there definitely came a point where it was like, fuck, like I really want to just have a party. Like I really want to. And like I had one bachelorette party that I went to this summer, which was wonderful. And we all got tested and, were as safe as we could and rented a house together. And
yeah.
yeah, that was like the one. And we made a rule for the weekend that there was no political or COVID talk allowed in the house. And you had to like go outside to this one willow tree if you wanted to talk about anything like negative in the world. And pretty much
Wow.
nobody went to the willow tree all weekend. We were just like, this is great. Let's not talk about it. Let's just drink and sit by the pool.
Yeah. Definitely had a couple of evenings like that. And the very end of the summer, in I guess like the end of September, a couple of friends and I went to the Cape and camped out together and went in the water even though it was cold, and it was so beautiful, and oh my God, it was so great. And I still think, even though it was like we camped because we didn't want to be near people,
Hmm.
it was still like an excellent experience and probably wouldn't have happened if the quarantine didn't exist. So
Yeah, yeah. Camping has
yeah.
been a real treat this summer. I've done
Oh
several camping
my God.
trips.
Yeah, it was my first camping time ever this
Really?
summer.
No kidding.
Yeah. No, I truly, I think I did like festival camping, but it wasn't the same because it wasn't in a tent. Like I always just stayed with somebody if I was playing or whatever. But yeah, it was my first time like actually sleeping in a tent on the ground kind of thing. And it was really cute because I we were doing it for Molly,
Hmm.
Lindsay's birthday.
Yeah.
And all of my friends, I was like, hi, I need to borrow things because I don't know how to camp. All my friends like brought me like special stuff to borrow and stuff. And they were like, I really want you to like camping. So I hope this will keep you warm and this will keep you comfortable. And I was like, oh my God, this is the nicest thing ever. So I really enjoyed it. I did it a grand total of 3 times. So yeah, I'm pretty much an expert now.
Oh
No,
yeah, I mean, you
not
know
at
all
all.
there is to know. Yeah, I've become a real like I when I was younger, so I spent a summer working in the Adirondacks. I was like interning with the DEC, and my whole job was like backpacking through the mountains basically, and just like
Oh
camping
my
out
gosh.
and like being there, and just like helping hikers or fucking making sure people were following the rules while they were camping, and like checking trail maintenance and stuff like that. And it was awesome. It was a great experience, and I was like, I had to be like very rugged for that. Like I had to pack really light because I was backpacking all over the place, and like the trails are super crazy out there. They're really, really difficult. And
Wow.
yeah, like I honestly went into it not knowing much about like hiking or camping or backpacking. I was just like, I like the mountains. This will be cool. And like I had to kind of like learn on the fly. So like I had that experience and I got really good at that summer. And now that I'm, over 30, I don't know if like that was the cutoff, but all of a sudden, like I've done some camping this summer. I did some camping last summer, and I am such a like I know pillow princess is something different. I know what that refers to, but I'm gonna use it in this context anyway because I feel like it's still like just the phrase sounds correct for how I am about camping now. Like I am the girl who brings like my feather mattress topper and 6 million blankets and like refuses to not like I refuse to feel the ground. I'm like,
Yeah, no, I freaking think that's great. I like went on this camping excursion and everyone was like, yo, nice gear, man. Like, whoa, sweet tent. Can I see that sleeping thing you got? whoa, what's that sleeping bag temperature go down to? I was like, these dudes are serious gearheads. Like they, I always think that I'm a nerdy gearhead because I'm like talking about guitars and pedals and shit all the time, but they literally are the same exact thing, but with camping. And I had no idea. I was like, you guys are big nerds, and I
Oh
had
yeah.
no idea.
Yeah. No, camping gearheads are real. Camping and hiking and any of that stuff. I used to like mentally like to myself because I was alone in the mountains, but I would be like hiking along and I would see like, day hikers who were out with like their full trekking poles and like all of this fucking high tech shit. And I was just there in my like thrift store boots, just doing fine. But, and at the time I was feeling very smug about it. I'm like, I don't need trekking poles. But also I was like 21. So of course I fucking didn't. Like now I
And
probably,
you did it alone?
yeah, that was the job. Like it was
Holy
funny because
crap.
there were like maybe, a dozen interns in the program, and we all got sent to different parts of the Adirondacks. And I was in the Eastern High Peaks with like two other guys, and we were like, okay, great, so we get to like go out together, right? And like like be with each other in case something happens. And they were like, no, we don't have enough staff for that. You go out separately to various areas of the mountains and you will be alone for 3 days in the woods. And I literally had days during like bad weather where I did not see another human for like 24 hours. And it was a lot at times. Like I think I like being alone, and like I do, and I'm better at it than I'm sure a lot of people. But when you're in deep wilderness with no phone, no nothing, and it's the weather sucks, it's chilly, it's rainy, and you can't have fires in that part of the Adirondacks. It's against the rules because
Wow.
people like it's just a really popular area, and people have like basically overpicked the underbrush to make fires over the years. So,
Oh.
they need to like let that grow back and like let the forest recover a little bit. So they've banned fires in that part of the Adirondacks. So you can't have a nice cozy fire to ward off the dark and the cold. You have to like sit there with your sad little like propane stove and like, try to make couscous. Like fucking it sucked at times, but it was also like fucking cool, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm glad I did
I
it.
mean, I'm like, you can't see, but I'm shaking my head and my mouth is wide open. I'm agape in wonder. I think that's incredibly cool.
It was dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
I
I would do it again. I mean, if I was still 21.
one of my favorite shows is Naked and Afraid. So one of my favorite trash TV things to do is watch Naked and Afraid. So I just
Ah,
figure, that's in that realm of like people who do crazy stunt like stuff
I should get into
for
that.
fun.
Are they actually naked?
Yeah, they're naked. I don't know why. I think it's very dramatic because they fight and stuff, and that's what's fun in the reality TV, shitty TV world.
Oh my
My friend calls it Naked and a Scared. So we were like, "Are you watching Naked and a Scared?"
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I watch a lot of really bad TV, so.
I should watch more. I used to really like some of it. Like I don't have like normal TV anymore. We've switched over to just streaming. So like I don't know.
Same.
Yeah, so I guess you can still watch that kind of shit. But like I feel like that was when I used to watch trash TV the most, is when I actually had TV and I was like living at my dad's house and I would flip around, and like I remember lots of late nights of watching like Next on MTV. Do you remember MTV Next?
Oh my God.
I
Yeah,
loved
I
it.
think that was teenage years for me watching that show.
Yeah, I would have had to have been a teenager, but like late teens, I think. And I would like, and they would
Wow.
like put it on at like 1 a.m. and I would just be sitting there like watching these fucking idiots like date each other.
Yeah, I think I was like in the teenage years where like the concept of going into someone else's bedroom was like completely foreign to
Oh
me.
yeah, Room Raiders,
And
Room
I was like,
Raiders, yeah.
room raiders, like all of those things where you're just like, what? They go into your room and look around? That's insane. I have to clean.
Oh my God, I know. And then you think about like, what if I end up on Room Raiders somehow? Like, what would they see? Like, what would they think of
Yeah.
my room? You start looking around, you're like, oh man, I got to get rid of these stuffed animals.
Jesus Christ. Let me hide everything embarrassing. There's like an entire 3 trash bags that I
Oh
have
my
to take
God.
out.
Yeah. And they would always go in and be like, oh, he's got a guitar. Like, that's cool. Ew, what's this? A dirty sock? Like, it was like always the same shit every single time. Like, I swear, it
And
had
now
to have
it's
been.
the same junk again. Like people go on these dating apps and you're just like, oh, cool. Like you're playing guitar, you're holding a fish. Like same fucking shit.
Oh my God, I know. I had a picture of me with a guitar on my OkCupid profile. I really did because I was like,
Yeah, same,
at least
same.
people can know that like this is a thing that I do. I don't know, like
I've had so many bad experiences where men don't like women who might know more than them in certain areas, like playing guitar or doing music, or they think that the type of music I do is not feminine enough. It's been a constant thing in a lot of the relationships I've had. So
yeah, a lot of
um,
dudes are very threatened by
very threatened.
women encroaching onto traditionally masculine territory, but a lot of dudes aren't, and you just got to find those dudes.
I gotta find them. I know, but that's why I put it there because I'm always like, hey, here's a picture of me playing guitar, possibly better than you. Can you deal with that?
Also, I know about gear, I know about pedals, like fucking
Yeah.
don't try to mansplain them to me. I know more than you.
I don't know if I know more, but I'm just like, when the question always is, how long have you been playing guitar for? And you're assuming I'm going to be like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I
It's
just
like,
know a few
come on.
chords.
Oh, geez.
My ex-boyfriend showed me how to play a G.
Yeah. And I feel like I was in, the relationship where I was with someone who's like an incredibly accomplished musician and learned a lot from him about what I like about like tone and like all this stuff. But I never really like took it on to myself to like take control of those things in my own music until I was alone. And I'm so freaking grateful for it. Um, yeah, it's like when I date now, I'm like, I know exactly what I want. I know exactly who I am. And yeah, it's like, man,
Uh,
wouldn't trade it for anything.
that's everything. Yeah, that's really
Hell
everything.
yeah.
Like you can't I mean, it's not that you can't date without that sense of like, self like I don't know what the word is, like self-fulfillment or like just confidence in yourself and like knowing that you're enough. Like that's really like where good relationships come from because ultimately like your partner is not the thing that's going to make you happy. Like you are either happy and you're not, and then maybe you find somebody who you're compatible with, but like they're not going to fix your problems. So like you take whatever you have like into the relationship. And I
Absolutely.
think a lot of people make that mistake of thinking like, well, I'm not happy now, but if I just had a great partner, then I would be happy. But no, I mean, like, I have a wonderful partner. We've been together for 4 years, and I intend to, fucking stick with him because he's great. But I still have all the issues and hangups that I brought into the relationship, and those are mine to work on. And like it's not that he's not supportive. Like he's very supportive and does what he can, but he is not the answer to my problems. He is just a wonderful part of my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was in relationships consecutively for a decade.
Whew.
So just went from one right to the other. And I've been alone for a few years now. And I have never been as whole and had the ability to come like to myself like I have in this time period. Yes, therapy has helped. I take medication for depression and anxiety, so that's also helpful. I really, really, really suggest being alone.
Yeah.
It at least for a few years, like figure your shit out. I don't think I could have grown with somebody else in the ways that I have. I might have been able to, but man, I was so reliant on other people in music, in like just general self-confidence, like in all sorts of stuff. Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I
good
feel
for you,
like,
dude. Like it's really hard and I mean, just speaking more from watching other people's experiences, but I know that it's really really hard to go from being a serial monogamist to being cool with being on your own. And like I was pretty much the opposite. I had like a string of short relationships throughout my like late teens and 20s, and like really I had like one 3-year thing with somebody who really wasn't right for me, and it just lasted longer than it needed to. And like then after that was when I met my current partner. But before that relationship I was pretty much single like all the time. I think my longest relationship before him was like 6 months. Like I just was always dating, but then finding that like I don't know, like I just hadn't found anybody who was better than being alone.
Hey, that's a really, really important part of it too.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. There's like so many times where I have been in relationships or dating, where the person, like the experience of being with them was awful, but I was afraid of being alone, so I stayed. Um, just yeah, now that I like got over the fear of being alone and what that actually meant, which had nothing to do with other people. Like obviously, it's all self-protective mechanism shit.
Oh, wait, pause 1 second. I forgot.
Oh,
So this is part of living at my house. This siren goes off
oh
every
yeah,
day.
that's cool. I've got a cat making all sorts of noises, so
Yeah, my dogs are also howling along in the background. Oh God,
so
I
cute.
forgot. I haven't scheduled a podcast for 11 o'clock yet. This is the first time I've done this. I totally forgot about it. But anyway, I'll
No
just
worries.
just edit this part out.
Yeah, this didn't happen.
Yeah, no. All right, it's fading. Do you hear them?
So cute. I love it.
I think they like it. I think they really enjoy doing this. So at least
Oh my
somebody
gosh.
enjoys living next to a
I
siren.
love dogs so much.
They're so goofy. Fucking
They're
idiots.
so cute.
But anyway, yeah, no, I'm really grateful that like I did have that experience of like being single, and like I don't know why, like what exactly led to that, because like I said, I did date, and I had plenty of like opportunities to meet people and stuff like that, but like I just, for whatever reason, whatever circumstance and combination of variables in my childhood and adolescence led me to just prefer kind of doing my own thing for a long, long time. And yeah, I'm very grateful for it, because I do think everybody needs to, maybe not everybody, I obviously can't speak for the entire human race. Some people get married to their high school sweethearts and everything works out fine, but I do
That's
think
true.
in general it's healthy to be alone and learn who you are on your own without the context of
Yes.
somebody else.
And I think it's not only healthy, I think it's important. Like, I actually do think it's important to be alone. I mean, I obviously did not think that until now that I've been alone. So I understand why people in relationships are like, nah. And I get it. Like, if you're happy, that's amazing. Do it.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, you were with people that weren't good for you and didn't make you feel good because you
Ugh.
thought it was better than being alone, and now you know that it's not.
Yeah, it's really, really not. If you're listening to this and you're in a relationship that's bad, call me. Let's talk. Let's gab about it.
Yeah.
Leave your relationship. He's not that great. Just joking.
Or she, to be fair.
He or she or they.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. I just, on the patriarchy, I'm just going to say all men are, no, I'm just joking. Hashtag not all men. I'm just joking. I take that back
Nah,
as well.
fuck it. All men.
All men.
I'll
Hashtag
say it.
all the men. Y'all are trash.
Men are trash.
For
I'll
real.
say it. You heard it here. No. There's some wonderful ones. Of course, obviously, there are many
are.
wonderful male-identified people in the world.
Absolutely.
But also
Absolutely.
a lot of not so great ones. And a lot of fucking terrible female-identified people, too, of course.
Yeah, but less.
Yeah. I agree. On the whole, less. And I mean,
Yes.
I really think it's not biological. It's obviously societal,
It's
like
socialized.
yeah.
Come on, yeah.
Like we are as women and female identified people, like we are socialized to be, in touch with our emotions and nicer to people and considerate of other people's feelings and circumstances. And, people who are, born male or assigned male at birth, like are generally socialized to be selfish and to be cold with their emotions and to ignore their emotions and other people's emotions, and that's tragic. That shouldn't be happening, and I think a lot of the world's problems would be not problems if we all stopped doing that to our boys.
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak to the specifics maybe, but I think, there's something about having like a ton of leeway in life that leads people to be incredibly inconsiderate. And I like being with people who are considerate. It it shows me. My cat's meowing, so I can't concentrate. And the reason is because I neglect this cat, even though I
Oh,
literally hold this cat like for 20 hours a day.
no, you're obviously being very cruel to your cat.
I'm very cruel. Oh my God.
I can hear the sadness and longing in the meows.
Unbelievable. She's like, do you know what you're not doing? Looking at my face in this moment. Unbelievable.
But yeah, no, what you just said about like, people who are, kind of have things easier, don't consider, other people who don't have things easier. And you can see that in white privilege, obviously, and in people who try to deny that white privilege exists. And it's like,
Ugh,
no, like, I don't care if you were born into poverty. If you are white, then that's one less strike against you. Like, although, yes, of course,
exactly.
you didn't have as much privilege as a white person who was born wealthy into a wealthy family. Obviously, nobody's saying that you did, but like, you just have to accept that like you had one less strike against you.
Yeah. And I think it's, probably could be said of white women in the same way that white women say it about men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of leeway and we've had a lot of privilege and a lot of easiness in our lives. And, that's just important to acknowledge. And we
Yeah.
have to acknowledge when our cats are, being abused,
You have
which
to
means not
acknowledge
looking
your
at them.
cat. You gotta
Jesus.
your cat clearly needs more acknowledgement and more validation.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God. Well, this is pretty much our hour, Lindsay. So I want to thank you so much for coming on. This was really, really
Thank you
nice.
so much, MK. I really appreciate you having me. I just want to give a sign off if I could.
Yeah, of course.
Ask people to please follow me on Amity Ames. That's AMITYAMES on Instagram. I am on Twitter, but I don't update it just with Instagram stuff. And we're releasing a new song on the 30th. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, you'll see the release happen. There's going to be a music video, and it's pretty freaking cool because it's all about Kingston.
Oh,
So
yay.
yeah. So go check it out, please, if you will.